Our society is enamored with words. I love you, we say, as though those three words could express the infinite. We express our feelings with words, compose love letters, and send sincere greetings. Nevertheless, how frequently do these words seem meaningless? How frequently do they fall short of expressing our true emotions? The meaninglessness of words is not the issue. Our inability to remember the deeper language of love is the issue. The language that communicates directly from being to being requires no terminology and doesn't require translation. You see, you cannot express true love with words. You're something. Think about this. For an infant to feel loved, a mother does not have to say, "I love you." The warmth of her touch, the tenderness of her look, and the cadence of her heartbeat all convey this to the baby. Love is entire, flawless, and wordless even before language is developed. This is how love was originally expressed, and we somehow forget it as we get older. We come to believe that feelings must be expressed in order to be legitimate, and that love must be spoken in order to be true. However, this would be like the stating that the water must disclose its wetness in order to be truly wet, or that the sun must announce itself in order to provide light. The purest form of love is not a message. There's a presence. What does it mean, therefore, to show love without using words? Realizing that love is not something you do is the first step. You become it. Every action you take becomes a manifestation of your genuine love. The essence of your feelings is conveyed by every look, every gesture, and every moment of focus. Observe a grandmother's gaze on her grandchild. That look has an air about it that is beyond description. It's supple. It's finished. It's unconditional. What she observes, not what she says, is what shows love. As firmly as her arms embrace the infant, so do her eyes. Presence is this. Attention is what this is. This is the manifestation of love. However, this is where most people make mistakes. They believe that extravagant presence, extravagant shows, and dramatic actions are necessary to convey love without using words. They feel that in order to demonstrate their love, they must take action. However, this is still verbal thinking that has been converted into actions. Instead of just being there, it is still attempting to convey a message. True unspoken love is far more nuanced. When someone speaks to you, it's in how well you listen. Being totally present with them in that same moment, without waiting for your chance to speak or planning your answer. The person feels heard in a level that is incomprehensible when you listen to them with all of your heart. They have a sense of fulfillment. They experience being seen. They experience love. It's in the way you treat someone's possessions with reverence, as though they were holy. It's because they belong to someone you care about, not because the items are important. One man I knew never spoke, yet every time he walked into a room, his wife of 40 years would light up. Why? Because he truly saw her when he gazed at her. Not her duty or function, not what she was doing, not what she could offer him, but her, the core of her being. And love was expressed more plainly in that sight than it ever could be in 1,000 proclamations. This is how genuine attention works. Giving someone your whole attention is like giving them your presence, which is the most valuable thing you have. And presence is the materialization of love. But let's take a closer look. How can one foster this unspoken act of love? The first step is realizing what love is. Feelings may accompany love, but love itself is not a sensation. Love may evoke feelings, but it is not an emotion. Fundamentally, love is recognition. It is the understanding that another person possesses life, being, and essence. Love blossoms when you genuinely see someone for who they are at their core, not for their character, accomplishments, or utility to you. Furthermore, since this understanding occurs on a deeper level than language, words are not necessary. Consider it this way. When you witness a stunning sunset, you can truly appreciate it without having to express it to the sunset itself. The caliber of your attention reflects your gratitude. The way you take a moment to appreciate the beauty and not rush it. Because of your presence, your openness, and your readiness to be impacted, the sunset is aware that it is valued. The same is true of persons. People sense it when you see them for who they are, their beauty, their suffering, their humanity. They experience being seen. They experience a sense of worth. They experience love. And it's your presence, not your words, that makes this happen. Here's what makes this challenging in the current world, though. Silence has become a fear for us. We occupy every moment with conversation, noise, and distraction. The silent places where unspoken love might blossom make us uneasy. We believe that we are not doing enough if we are silent. This is a serious miscommunication. Simply being there for someone in their happiness or sadness, without attempting to repair, counsel, or force things to happen, can sometimes be the most compassionate thing you can undertake. Think about the ways that animals show love. To a human, a cat does not meow, "I love you." Rather, it purrs. It creates presence. It decides to be close to you. Its closeness, the gift of its presence, and the act of being cozy enough to sleep next to you are all ways that it shows its affection. Wordless affection is something that dogs excel at. They welcome you as though you were the most significant entity in the cosmos. Every gesture and action you make is noticed by them. They reflect your feelings, rejoice with you, and ease your sorrows. They love with all of their hearts, not just with words. Even though these animals don't communicate with us, we somehow never question their affection for us. Why? Since we sense it. When genuine love is demonstrated by paying attention, and being there, we can perceive it. Compared to animals, humans now possess something even more advanced: the ability to be present consciously. We have the option to be totally present. We have the option to focus entirely on it. We have the option to view another individual with compassion and clarity. Something beautiful occurs when you truly gaze at someone you love without any expectations, agendas, or desires to alter or obtain anything from them. In their entirety, they feel seen. They experience acceptance. They experience love. This has nothing to do with gazing, which might come across as intrusive. Gentle open awareness is the key here. It is similar to how you may see clouds moving across the sky or a flower blossoming. Wordless love is more than just being there and paying attention. It is also being patient, grateful, and present. It is there in the 1,000 little things that constitute everyday existence. It is in the way you cook for someone with consideration for their preferences and with the intention of nourishing rather than merely feeding them. It's in how you treat someone, gently and respectfully, not demandingly or possessively. I am here, hand on a shoulder. A quick finger contact that lets you know you're not alone. An embrace with no other purpose than to provide solace and camaraderie. When touch is given out of love rather than need, it communicates in a way that words cannot express. It is straightforward, quick, and truthful. In contrast to words, the body is incapable of lying. A loving touch is not the same as a desperate, manipulative, or possessive touch. It is the quality of contact that transmits the quality of love. Additionally, there is the love that is conveyed through stillness and space. Recognizing when to back off and give someone space to breathe, feel, and be. Love sometimes entails just making room for whatever someone is going through, without attempting to offer consolation or answers. I've seen couples who were so in love that they could sit together for hours on end without saying a word. They had discovered how to be together without having to entertain one another or fill the silence. They could just be in each other's presence. And that existence together was a manifestation of love in and of itself. For those who live in a society that is always demanding of them to perform, achieve, and do, this is incredibly soothing. It is an immeasurable gift to be with someone who doesn't require you to be anything other than who you are right now. However, what I refer to as energetic generosity is arguably the most meaningful way to show love without using words. This is the readiness to be open and honest with other people, to be kind without being asked, to presume the best instead of the worst. It could be as easy as holding a door open out of real enjoyment rather than duty, or allowing someone to merge in traffic without honking. Instead of being impatient, it is approaching the checkout clerk with warmth, treating them like a person instead than a machine. You are expressing love on a universal level when you travel through the world with this kind of energy generosity. Without using words, you are expressing that I understand your humanity. I respect your struggle. I hope the best for you. But how will people know I love them if I don't say it? One may wonder. This inquiry exposes a basic misconception. It makes the assumption that individuals are incapable of feeling what is true and are deaf to the deeper languages of love. However, consider your personal experience. Have you ever been with someone who seemed cold, aloof, or self-centered, yet saying all the right things? Were you persuaded of their love by their words? On the other hand, have you ever been with someone who made no mention of love, yet whose presence made you feel totally loved, appreciated, and accepted? People are aware. They are able to distinguish between real love and fake love. They are able to distinguish between forced and authentic presence. They are able to distinguish between circumstances and unrestricted attention. This is the lovely paradox. Love flows easily through everything you do when you stop trying to show it and just learn to love more. Your behavior, listening skills, handling of challenges, and interactions with strangers all reveal your love. It stops being an action you do and instead becomes a characteristic of who you are. And because it is constant, this type of love has far more power than words. It is genuine and has an impact on people that goes beyond the intellect. This does not negate the importance of words in romantic relationships. There are instances in which language is necessary for clarification. When I love you, it stops being a show and instead becomes a straightforward declaration of reality. However, these words are only effective when they come from the same source as unspoken love, from an open heart, sincere recognition, and true presence. Words that originate here land in a different way. Since they're true, they feel true. They connect with the person because they are consistent with the presence that they have already experienced from you. We have turned into consumers of love in our contemporary society, constantly seeking validation, constant reassurance, and additional proof that we are loved. However, you come to realize that love is something you have to give rather than something you need to get when you learn to show it without using words, through your presence, your attention, or your very being. And you learn that love is not diminished, but rather increased by the act of giving, expressing, and simply being truly present with another person. You have more when you offer more. You feel more alive the more present you are. So, how can one show love without using words? You turn into love. You are presence. You provide the gift of your attention. You see people for who they are, not for what they ought to be. You hold space generously, listen intently, and touch lightly. You approach the world with an open heart, understanding that everyone you encounter is enduring hardships you are unaware of, bearing weights you are unable to see, and yearning for the same fundamental acceptance and acknowledgement that you yourself desire. And love speaks more beautifully than words ever could in that acknowledgement, in that presence, in that straightforward readiness to be who you truly are with another human being. There is no need for translation in this language. The communication that transcends all boundaries is this one. Through the simple miracle of two aware beings actually meeting, love is made visible, real, and conveyed in the most profound way possible. Though words fade, presence persists. Declarations may be forgotten, but the heart will always remember the sensation of being seen, met, and loved. And this is the ultimate secret, maybe. Being different, rather than doing something different, is what love without words is all about. When you become more conscious, more present, and more authentically you, love naturally manifests itself in all that you do and who you are. Learning a new language is not necessary. All you have to do is recall your birth language, which is the language of existence, recognition, and presence. Love finds its purest expression in that remembering, and everyone you touch with your genuine self finds the world a little more lovely.